I started my morning routine walk, just me and the empty streets at 2:07 a.m. I couldn't sleep, and figured a stroll would help clear my head. The neighborhood was quiet, too quiet. Even the usual barking dogs were missing. No crickets, no wind. Just the sound of my own footsteps echoing off the cracked pavement. I lived in a small, aging suburb just outside Albany, New York, normally dull, sleepy, and safe. But that night, everything felt off. The air had a bite to it, not from cold, but from something else. A tension, like the world was holding its breath. Street lamps flickered in a pattern I hadn't noticed before. On, off, 2 blinks, repeat. I turned down Maplewood Drive and stopped. A man was standing beneath the flickering light, completely still. He didn't move. He didn't blink. I slowed down, pretending not to notice him. But every step felt harder than the last. My ears were ringing now, as if the silence was growing too loud to bear. As I passed him, I turned slightly to catch a glimpse, just a glance, and instantly regretted it. He was facing the street, but his head was turned fully backwards, chin resting unnaturally on his spine. His mouth was moving fast, like he was whispering 100 things at once, but no sound came out. His eyes were pure white, no pupils, just voids. I sped up. My heart pounded in my chest, a cold sweat crawling down my back. I could feel him watching me, even though I didn't dare look again. A sharp whistle rang out behind me, 3 notes, the same pattern as the blinking lights. I broke into a jog. I reached an intersection I crossed countless times before, but now every direction looked identical. Same houses, same mailboxes, same broken fence. I spun around. Had I walked in a circle? I tried pulling up my phone to check the GPS, but the screen stayed black. Dead, even though I had charged it just an hour ago. My hands trembled as I slid it back into my pocket. That's when I saw movement in the yard across the street. A woman barefoot, wearing a hospital gown, was crawling on all 4s toward the road. Her limbs jerked like a marionette on broken strings. Her head bobbed with every shuffle, and her mouth was hanging open as if stuck mid-scream. I froze. She stopped crawling. Slowly, her head lifted, and she grinned wide, impossibly wide. I turned and ran, not caring where I went. I just needed to be away. My shoes slapped against the wet pavement. The only sound in the ghost-quiet night. Behind me, the sound of crawling grew faster. Slap, scrape, slap, scrape. I rounded the corner and nearly collided with a row of mannequins lined up across the road. They weren't there earlier, dressed in worn clothes. Their faces had been replaced with mirrors. My own reflections stared back at me in a dozen fractured angles, except in one of them I was smiling. But I wasn't smiling. I blinked, and one of the mannequins moved its hand. I screamed and stumbled backward into someone or something standing directly behind me. It was the man from the street lamp. His head was right side up now, but that somehow made it worse. His mouth was still moving too fast. And now, the whispers were audible nonsense phrases, repeated syllables, jumbled words that made no sense. Don't watch down, don't watch. He reached toward me, his fingers long and jointless like melted plastic. I dodged and sprinted into a nearby alley, chest heaving, my vision blurred, my legs burned. I didn't stop until I reached the end, where an old wooden door was propped open by a brick. No signs, no lights, just a cold breath of air spilling from the darkness beyond. With no other choice, I stepped inside. The hallway inside was lined with dozens of closed doors, each marked with a Roman numeral. I kept walking, each step creaking loudly, like the floor wanted to scream. Somewhere above me, something was pacing fast. I picked up my pace, my shoulder brushing against the wall. It felt warm, wet, I looked at my sleeve. Red. Blood. I spun and faced the door. I had just passed number 13. It was wide open. Inside, something breathed heavily. I didn't wait. I sprinted down the hall, every light above me exploding one by one as I passed. The end of the hallway had no door, just a window except outside. It wasn't night anymore. It was pitch black, starless, moonless, pure void. Then the lights came back on, every single one at once. The hallway was empty now. No blood, no doors, just white walls and silence. I was back outside, the same street, the same flickering lamp. But now everything was wrong. The streetlights stretched higher than trees. The houses had no windows, and the sky above was rippling, like water. I turned slowly and saw the crawling woman again. Only this time, she wasn't crawling. She was standing. Behind her were more figures. Dozens. All whispering, all twitching, all grinning. They surrounded me without making a sound. I backed into a wall that hadn't been there before. My breath was shallow, my vision narrowing. One by one, the figures raised their arms and pointed to the sky. I looked up. A massive eye had formed above the clouds. No iris, no pupil, just blackness, with cracks of red, lightning flaring across its surface. I couldn't move, couldn't scream. The eye blinked once and everything went dark. When I came to, I was in my bed, fully dressed, shoes still wet. My phone beside me had 143 missed calls, all from unknown. The time was 2:07 a.m. Again, I raced to my window. Everything looked normal. The sun was just rising. I grabbed my phone, try and call someone, anyone. But each time I dialed, I only heard the same whisper. Don't watch down, don't watch. I threw the phone. It didn't hit the wall, it vanished in midair. The next few days were a blur. I didn't sleep. Couldn't. Every time I blinked too long, I'd see those figures waiting, watching. The crawling woman's face burned into my eyelids. I started noticing strange things in daylight now. Street signs that changed when I looked back. Faces in reflections that weren't mine. And always that same whistle in the distance, 3 notes. Blinking street lamps that followed me home. I tried telling someone. My roommate laughed. The next day, he was gone. His bed untouched. His phone left on the charger. No one remembered him but me. The world seemed rewritten. Wrong, as if I had left something behind on that night walk, and now reality was trying to compensate. But every time I walked past that intersection on Maplewood Drive, the air got cold. The silence returned, and I knew they were waiting for me to break the rules again. I write this as a warning, I guess. Maybe it's too late. Maybe I was never meant to come back. But if you ever walk at night and hear a soft whistle, 3 notes, turn around. If you see a woman crawling toward you, don't run. Don't speak. Just close your eyes and count to 13. If you see mannequins, don't look into their mirrors. And whatever you do, never follow a light that flickers in a rhythm. That's not electricity. That's them. And they're still watching, waiting for someone else to take the walk. If you have reached this far in the video, please drop a like and subscribe. Let's continue. I thought it was over, that I'd gotten away, but a week after that walk, I found the first mark. A small, circular burn on my forearm, like someone pressed a branding iron into my skin while I slept. I tried scrubbing it off. Nothing worked. That night, I dreamt of the eye in the sky again. Only this time, I was inside it, looking down at myself. Everything around me was still, frozen, except for one thing, something crawling toward my sleeping body. I woke up screaming. The bed sheets wrapped tight around me like restraints. The burn on my arm had spread. Now, it looked like a symbol, some kind of glyph. I found the same symbol scratched onto my front door the next morning, and under it, in fresh red chalk, "You kept walking." I stopped leaving the house. I kept every light on, every mirror covered. I disconnected all electronics, but they still found ways in. The TV turned on at 2:07 a.m. sharp, always static, always whispering. I'd unplug it, smash it, throw it out. It would be back the next night, perfectly fine. I started seeing my own reflection smile at me when I wasn't. Sometimes, it mouthed things I wasn't saying. I boarded up the windows, bought motion lights. Nothing helped. One night, I woke up with muddy footprints circling my bed. I lived alone. The front door was still locked from the inside. Something was playing with me, wearing my reality like a mask. It wasn't until I visited the town library that I found anything close to an answer. Hidden in an out-of-circulation book, between pages brittle with age, was a handwritten note. The walkers feed on broken patterns, light, time, direction. Breaking the walk breaks the world. There was more. If you hear the whistle, it's already too late. If you see the eye, you've been chosen. My hands trembled as I turned the page. There, crudely drawn in ink, was the same glyph burned into my arm. Beneath it, a single phrase: "Don't stop walking or they catch up." I looked up, and every person in the library had vanished. Even the lights dimmed as I sat there, breath frozen in my throat. That was 3 nights ago. Since then, my dreams have become more real than waking life. In them, I'm always walking through twisted versions of my town, upside-down houses, endless intersections, skies stitched shut with wire. The crawling woman follows me in each one, her eyes bleeding black ink. Last night, I stopped walking for just a second in the dream. She caught me, her mouth unhinged, and everything inside her screamed. I woke up covered in bruises, my jaw dislocated. My shadow no longer matches my movements. It lags behind, or moves before I do. I think I'm slipping into their world piece by piece. I don't know how much longer I have. Tonight, I made a mistake. I fell, just for a moment. My foot caught the edge of the carpet, and I went down hard. I was unconscious for maybe 30 seconds, but that's all they needed. When I opened my eyes, my apartment wasn't my apartment anymore. The walls were pulsing like lungs, breathing in shadows and exhaling decay. The clock hands spun so fast they blurred into circles. My photos were bleeding from the eyes. Something was sitting in my chair. Not a person. Not quite. It had my face, but it was smiling too wide, like it had never stopped. It spoke in my voice. "You stopped." Then it stood up, joints cracking, and walked toward me. I ran not out the door, but deeper into the house. Somehow, there was a staircase where my hallway used to be, and it went down. Down forever. Each step groaned under my weight. And with every descent, the air grew colder, too cold to breathe without pain. The walls narrowed. Whispers tickle my ears, calling my name in distorted versions. Mark, Mark. My name isn't Mark. I don't know who Mark is. The stairwell twisted in impossible angles, folding in on itself, until I wasn't sure if I was going forward or backward. Then I saw the rooms. Hundreds of them, all glass. Inside each one was a version of me screaming, crying, convulsing. Some were missing eyes. Some were just shadows. One pounded the glass, mouthing something over and over. I leaned in. It was saying, "Wake up. Wake up. You never left the street." My vision blurred. The walls screamed. Suddenly, I was back outside. Same street. Same flickering lamp. Except it was darker now. The stars were gone. The moon blinked like an eye. I wasn't sure if I'd ever moved at all. My phone buzzed in my pocket, first time in days. One notification, a missed call from me, then a voice message auto-played. My voice whispered, "You shouldn't have stopped. Now you're one of us." I turned, and there they were. All of them, the others who had walked, their heads tilted too far, limbs wrong, mouths moving but no sound. They stood still waiting, then one took a step. So I ran. I ran until the world peeled away like wallpaper. The buildings melted into trees. The road turned to teeth. My feet sank with every step, like I was running on flesh. I looked behind me, nothing. Then everything. Thousands of them. Crawling, walking, flying with no wings. My breath hitched, and I screamed. But no sound came out. Not even in my head. They stole it. They stole my scream. One of them reached out and grabbed my shadow, and I felt it. Pain like I've never known. Not physical. Existential. Like it knew every moment I ever feared being alone and made it real. If you're listening this, remember this one rule. Never interrupt the walk. If the streetlights flicker in rhythm, turn back. If someone stares at you without blinking, don't engage. And if you see a door that was never there before, never open it. I've boarded mine up now, but I still hear knocking. It's not from outside. It's from the walls. They've gotten into the spaces between seconds, the cracks in memory. I walk every night now, around my living room, in circles, over and over. I don't stop. If I do, the eye opens again, and I don't think I'll wake up next time. I'm still walking. My legs don't stop anymore. I don't know if I'm on a road, or inside a memory that doesn't belong to me. I see your house sometimes. I see you reading this. And I wonder, are you walking? Have the lights flickered lately? Have you noticed your reflection blinking out of sync? If you hear a knock at your window tonight, don't open it. Just keep walking. Circle your room. Walk your hallway. Don't stop for anything. Because if you do, I'll be there. Not me exactly, but what I've become. And once we've met, once your steps falter, you don't leave. Ever.